So here we are, Taf Shin Pei Gimel, and we are 3,334 years after Har Sinai, coming back to the Exodus. So that means that this is going to be 3,335 years since the actual day that we left Mitzrayim. It's a lot of days. It's easy to remember the number though, because it's 3,335 now. So 3,335 years. And believe me, I waited for years teaching Shirim all the time, talking about that date, waiting for the 3,333, which happened 2 years ago. And we're leaving as a cloud, but we're also going to leave within. We're going to leave out of our own personal gullus. And we're all in a personal gullus. And you rarely get that beautiful glimpse outside your own story, but we're all our perspective is so complex. You know that scientists have never figured out how we witness anything. They just can't figure it out because it's so complex, how many lenses we look through to see reality. So meaning like 10 people are going to have 10 different views of a cow on a hike. And we just all see it differently. Now, I know those of you who are possibly graduates have seen what it is to really see, because I gave that glimpse that we all had where you actually were seeing what things were. You know, you all of a sudden saw things, tasted things, touched things. And you do get in there sometimes. And that's when you're able to turn off all the filters and really be fully present. And we want to make Pesach that time again. I want to make Pesach that leaving of our personal gullus, and let's go into some thoughts about it altogether, like just to go into it, and that is that the job since Yud Nisan, my birthday, the job since Yud Nisan is to grab the set and to inspect it. But where to inspect it? You have to inspect the sheep for blemishes, for mumim, in your inner room. Tie it to the bedpost in your inner room. And what's that inner room? The inner room is the room that nobody sees. And for us, what that means is the inner voice inside of us of what we are willing to say about ourselves as in total contradiction to the Tselem Elokim that God creates in us. Meaning we're all made in the image of God. But that voice inside our heads that what we're willing to say about ourselves to ourselves is the ultimate God of Egypt. And what is the God of Egypt? Well, the God of Egypt is a sheep. Okay, so what's a sheep? Well, a sheep's made of two major parts. It's got the body and then it's got the wool. And the wool's a very big deal. You know, wool is a very big deal because it's what makes a sheep big and puffy and you know, that's the chametz. Sheep have their own chametz. Now, just to tell you a quick story, you might have heard me tell this story before, but it's super short. And that is that my grandfather was a wool trader. And we used to go to Sacramento and visit my grandfather. And he would... And good, Avi Shank's right under my camera. I forgot to get rid of David Kletz. I got rid of him, though. My grandfather used to take us up there. So we'd get out of his Jeep Cherokee, and we would see these giant sheep. I mean, these sheep were perfect breeds for wool. They were for the wool business. So they had huge coats of wool. And me and my brothers were hiding under my grandfather's legs to protect us from the monsters. Anyway, our grandfather led us along till the shearers, the people who do the actual shearing of the sheep. And we watched them shearing the sheep. But when they got on the other side of the sheep shear, they were like these scrawny, goopy little, they were like oversized rats. Meaning they were like a fraction of the size. They lost all their scariness. They just looked like these, and the goop that was all over them is sheep sweat. Which is called lanolin. It's the skincare product it's the ingredient that's the most important ingredient in every skincare product, which I suggest, by the way, everyone should have a tube of 100% pure lanolin. That 100% pure lanolin has saved our family. In the front left vest pocket, you'll always see a little of this stuff. which of course nursing mothers know all about. But we discovered this stuff years ago, and our peeling, cracking hands ended immediately as soon as we discovered this stuff. And not only that, you can put it on a cut once the cut's closed. You can put on any cut and get rid of your cut within several days earlier. You will have no more cut there. So the company is called, of course, the women all know this, but they're not on this group. Probably a few women, but they're called, it's called lanolin. Sorry, it's called Lanzino. Lanzino. I order every few months. I order a bunch of little ones for my pocket and my wife's purse and stuff, and big ones for the house. And your dry skin days are history. Now the sheep is covered in lanolin, and it's this little scrawny, goopy nothing. We came out from the legs of my grandfather because we were no longer afraid of these giant sheep that we saw when we got out of his Jeep. And so what is that sheep? What is that sheep that we tie to the bedpost? And we're looking for blemishes. We're looking for blemishes of wool? No, the wool, we don't care about the wool. What we're looking for is that the animal itself is messed up. Maybe the animal's messed up. Maybe the sheep sees himself as a scrawny nothing, as a Meitzar. And isn't that interesting that the land of Mitzrayim is the word Meitzar? It's scrawny, constricted. The word Meitzar means it's a constricted thing. And human beings are deeply constricted beings. Deeply constricted beings. This is one of the reasons why Karlin is such a heilige place to daven. Not for your first time. Your first time, you're just like. But if you come to Karlin a few times, you get used to it. No one's constricted there. Everyone's just like, everyone got the coal of the shofar, just like, you're in full tekiah. By the time you're anywhere near Shiras Hayam already, Nishmas, forget about it. You're losing it. You're not holding back at all. And in the Possible You, when we get everyone and doing the screaming therapy, which is called primal scream therapy, you'll see so many people are having such a hard time releasing their voice because they hold back. You've spent your whole life holding back, which is the flight mode. That's the flight mode, but we'll get into that a little later. But people hold back. And, the last Hallel that Shlomo Karlebach said 2 weeks before he died, the last Hallel, he said to all the Chassidim there, he said to them, don't hold back. Don't hold back. He yelled at them, don't hold back during Hallel. How many of us are always holding back? We're always holding back. That's flight, holding back. Don't hold back. Never hold back. Don't die with your song still inside you. Don't die with your words still inside you. Okay? Don't die with what you came to tell this world still inside you. How many people will have died and never told their story? Meaning never sang their song, never really shared their beauty to the world because they were so afraid, and then just died like cowering into a corner, put in the earth, having never, expressed themselves. That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate death. And whereas you can live your life and let your death be a celebration. Did you know that the people who hold back are scared to death of dying? You know that? People who hold back are scared to death of dying. Why? Because I don't want to die before I gave it out. I don't want to die before I gave everything out. And so I'm scared to die. But someone who already gives it out, someone who doesn't hold back, and you just give it out, so that person's not afraid to die. Their death is a graduation. It's like graduating a university. They're like, okay, I finished. I gave it all out, and nothing left to give out. My wife and I used to say that when we die, we're going to take our bodies like a drape, like you're holding a drape, or like a glima, we're just going to take the garment of meaning just our bodies, because we used every last drop. There's nothing left in it. It's just hanging down, and we're just going to go like this to Hashem. We're just going to go, take it. We squeezed every last drop out of it. Every last drop. And you don't want to die with your energy in you. How many of you, when's the last time any of you tested your ability of energy output. You understand? To the very end, to where you're starting to hallucinate from how exhausted you were from the output. Like when's the last time you put out like that? For many people and lots of my friends and myself included, that's a regular thing. That's a couple days a week where I'm going all the way to the end of what I've got. And so when you go all the way with what you got, now you know what you got. Like now you know that you put it all out. My brother wrote a song for Karlibach, which is how I got to hear this story. I was in the mikveh today, in the mikveh of my neighbor in the Shtetlach, Nachlaod. It's a lot of fun. I can't believe I'm with Adam Karsh. Adam, I love you. This is my friend Blair Karsh. He was my student forever and ever and ever. I don't even know how many years. And when I first met him, he says, "Hi." He called me and he says, "This is Blair Karsh." Blair Karsh. And my wife and I say that till this day. Every time we mention your name, we say, "This is Blair Karsh." Blair Karsh. So, listen, the Chevre, she's gonna be so excited you came on. So in my mikveh here in the Shtetlach and Nachlaot, it's like a real free for all. Like you can do whatever you want in there. And it's a good time. We most of the neighbors spend 20 to 30 minutes in there just hanging out and teaching each other different things. I think we all live longer actually as well, because if you see something growing on someone's back, you're likely to tell him and he'll go straight to the hospital. I think Hasidim live longer actually, just from someone saying, "Hey, you better check that thing out," because the rest of the world never gets to see each other naked. And we actually see each other's bodies and we can point stuff out to each other. And like often I say to the guy next to me, I say, "I've noticed that you're very fat." Just kidding. I don't do that at the mikveh. Although a guy got in there on Erev Shabbos that I thought was going to flood the whole neighborhood. And it was because there was more meat than soup in the mikveh at the time. And someone said shkedim marak, shkedim marak, which means that we're all soup nuts. In Hebrew, it's shkedei marak. I said shkenei marak, the neighbors of Marak. So anyway, so I was in the mikveh today, and I was singing to an old Talmud of Shlomo Karlibach, a real close Talmud of his. I sang the song that my brother wrote about Shlomo. Very beautiful song. I'll play you just a little cut of that. And such a beautiful song. And the chorus of the song is, "I will not hold back my love." And when I said that to him, he told me the story that Shlomo Karlibach, Erev, that 2 weeks before he died, screamed at all the minyan, "Don't hold back." I got it right here. Where's that thing? Here it is. Listen to how beautiful.
Are you listening? If you can hear me now, I want to thank you for the chance to sing a couple songs together. Are you listening? Can I tell you how you made this dark and lonely place seem a little sweeter than before you came to share the view that only you could see?
Here's the chorus.
And I will not give up hope, 'cause I know that hope is always there, and I will not hold back my love. You showed me that love is everywhere. I just think about the times we had. Are you listening? Are you listening? Now that you're gone, I've gotta wonder who will take your place.
I think I'm taking his place.
To remind us while we're singing, are you listening? 10,000 arms cannot embrace me like a single kiss. The love that you've given seems to know no worldly bounds. You always found the words to say.
Right.
And I will not give up hope. 'Cause I know that hope is always there. And I will not hold back my love. You show me that love is everywhere. I just think of the times we had. You helped me learn to cry. You told me that I was beautiful. You showed me how paradise hiding within every song.
Paradise hiding within every
I
song.
just think about the times we had, and my troubles don't seem quite so bad. We're so lucky to have love.
We're so lucky to have love.
People have to be closer. Nations have to be closer. And basically, Yiddishkeit has to be so much deeper, so much deeper. So much more sweetness, so much more love.
My brother knows how to write songs, by the way. You guys can check out my brother, by the way, Sam Glazer. Just go online. You'll find all his music on there. And there's not all his music. He's got like 5,000 songs, but whenever he had enough time or money to record in his studio, he's always recording everyone else. I wish someone would discover him and say, you're not allowed to record anyone else, and just get those songs out, because he's got like a couple hundred worth of CDs. And every song sounds like that, by the way, meaning not exactly like that, but meaning every song's unique to the subject. So, guys, let's get back into it. The Meitzar is that scrawny little sheep. And the word Meitzar, the scrawniness, the constriction, which is the stuff we're willing to say about ourselves. All that motzi shemra that we're willing to say about ourselves. That constriction is the letters mem tzadik resh, Meitzar. Now, what do? We've got the outer sheep. The inner sheep is the scrawny sheep. That's the one we have to check out deeply inside only the place we go, our inner bedroom place. But the outer sheep also gets slaughtered. We didn't shear the sheep before we slaughter it. We check the outer sheep. What's the outer sheep? The outer sheep's the puffed up chometzdik ego sheep. And that's the Tzemer, Tzadik Mem Reish, which is the same oisios of Meitzar. Tzemer has the same letters as Meitzar because the root of how someone puffs themselves up to be seen is the scrawniness. In other words, we generate from being, doing generates from being. And if the being is constricted, i.e. inner negative beliefs, stuff we're willing to say negatively about ourselves, if that's where we generate from, because that's the being, and then we do a puffed up fight job with our survival strategies, or we're holding ourselves back, which is what we just did that whole unit with the song my brother wrote of holding back love and learning how to stop doing that so you can be fully alive and having really given of yourself fully in your life, like sang your song before you died. So that putting out that holding back is part of these survival strategies. But of course, the way most people know it is with the semer, is with the puffed out ego. Now, all of this is going on so deeply inside us that we lose perspective, meaning we lose the expanded consciousness that is reality. Like reality is that expanded consciousness. Like that's what's real. And we lose that. And you all know when you know that feeling when you're losing expanded consciousness. And it's hard to predict when it's going to hit when you lose it. And it's hard to get it back when you lose it. And it's a shame too, because all the work you're doing is to enjoy, let's say, your family, but now you're with your family, but you're in like a constricted consciousness. So it's like, how many people have constricted consciousness Leila Seder? And all the work they did just came to constricted consciousness at the Seder. And this is one very important reason not to be drinking grape juice, that's for sure. Because if you drink a full cup of red wine, good luck. Good luck having constricted consciousness at that point. I mean, you may be lost and drunk and who knows what, but at least you're no longer in that previous consciousness. And my Rebbe brings down the person who I've been very, very close with. Everything I've ever taught you guys actually comes from one hidden Rebbe. I'm a Pinskarliner Chassid, as like our family, Chassidus, everything, and the big stuff we do. But I'm connected all these years to a very secret tzaddik, and but when with him means we're just deep in Sifrei Kodesh, like for hours and hours and hours at a time, and he brought down many times that Kiddush al yain. The reason we do Kiddush on wine is because the spectrum, the perspective, the full spectrum of consciousness that comes every Shabbos is so much bigger than a working man's work week, than what a man deals with on a work day-to-day level. And so what do you think? Just because you did Kabbalah Shabbos, you're like expanded now? Kabbalah Shabbos is a good start. Taking a mikveh before is a good start. Getting yourself prepared, good start. Setting up your wife's candles, good start. Going into shul, good start. Going to do Kabbalah Shabbat, good start. Ma'ariv is a good start. Saying good Shabbos, everybody's a great start. But the main thing is you got to hit the wine. You got to hit that full cup of wine and drink a whole revius of wine and expand yourself. And I tell people who are guests to drink a revius of wine if the balabayas hands you a shot glass of grape juice, just hand it back. Grab his wine bottle, pour yourself a revius of wine. And so Leila Seder, we're going big with wine. I mean, I remember one year my wife and I did all this work, and then we brought all these guests. We were like a young couple, and we drank the first cup, and we were like, oh man, we're trash. And then we drank the second cup, and we were gone. By the time we drank the second one, and then we were all depressed because now oh gosh, we did all this work, and we want to be clear, but we're not clear. Until my wife looked at me and laughing, and she says, who says Hashem wants us so clear? Who says Hashem says wine? Just drink the wine. Wherever it takes you, that's your Pesach this year. So just go with it. Go with it. And ever since then, okay, wherever the wine takes me. And only 1 year really knocked us out like that. And we were okay a couple hours later, but when we got to the third and fourth cups, but it's better just to follow the tradition exactly and let the cards land where they land, and anyway, so back to us is going into to getting that perspective. So I was walking with a chassid on Shabbos, a particularly smart guy and he's smarter than all of you, by the way. Almost every one of you. Let's see who's on this group. Yeah, he's smarter than all of you guys. You know why? Because he's a chassid from the tri-state area who made Aliyah. He moved to Eretz Yisrael, and that's how I know he's smarter than all of you. Anyway, but we were I hope you're enjoying my joke. So when we're walking out, he was asking me, about the possible you, whatever. And he said, oh gosh, I'm too intellectual for this, for coming to a seminar like that. And I said, yeah, you'll probably suffer a bit the first day, but by the second day, you're not going to know what the hell's going on. You're going to be so far gone, like you start off composed, but you're going to lose your composure very quick. And by the third day, forget it. It's going to be hard to peel you off the floor with a spatula. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I can't explain this exactly to you. I'm not going to be able to explain it, but look at that swing set over there. So I point across the way to a swing set. This is us walking out of shul, Shabbos Agodol, and Shabbos morning after Kiddush. And said, you see that swing set? And I said, yeah. And I said, you realize that you're seeing that swing set through all kinds of filters. That is filters that science will never understand how you filter out a swing set. And I'm filtering it through all my filters, and neither of us are really truly seeing the truth of the swing set. And when you can shut those filters off, when you get those filters shut off, you see. Then you can see. As we're going to say in Hallel, Hashem libo zorai, which is a very interesting thing to say. Hashem libo oizorai. What is that supposed to mean? So Hashem li, and that I get, like Hashem's mine, like when Hashem's with me. Be'oizorai means with my helpers. And for those of you who know what a yes world's all about, everyone's your helper and you're everyone else's helper. We're all helping each other and we're all living in this yes world together. I say yes, you say yes, we all work together. And there's everything you can look at, everything I'm seeing in your rooms, those whose cameras are on, which I appreciate so much. And if you're backlit, please turn on a little more front light so I can see your face. That's whoever's got the blinds there. Even though your camera's on so I can see you, who's got the blinds behind you, I can't see you at all because you're backlit. Anytime you're backlit, you're only half visible. Oh, hey, Chaimai, how you doing? That is Chaimai, right? You're still barely visible. Anyway, hey, brother. Ari Weber's frontlit, that's for sure. Now, anyway, moving on. When you get this filter shut down, all the things that filter out reality, so then you get to see. It's not an easy thing. I mean, people are dealing with a lot of dark filters, and it's complex. Human beings are very complex, and there's no one's ever come up with the way, because if they came up with the way, we'd have all done it already. Like if someone actually came up with the way to see with clarity, to live in that consciousness of expansion, we would all be doing it. And so it seems that we're going to have to take a multifaceted, meaning we're going to have to use very many different modalities to get to the clarity, to get to that expanded consciousness. We got to use a lot of different things. Every tool that's available to us, we've got to use to get it. Because when you have it, then your life's worth living. And when you don't have it, there's a certain feeling inside, like I'm not really alive. I don't feel truly alive. And so that means you got to find it. You got to find the answers. And sometimes you got to be very patient too. Sometimes it takes time. It takes time to find it. I have done my best to make the possible you hit as many modalities as I've ever learned in creating consciousness. So I have had mumchim in there who are, older than me, who've spent 20, 30 years in the world of personal growth to get expanded consciousness. And they've actually come up to me after the seminar and said, okay, you had this, you had that, you had this, you had that there. Like they were able to list all the different modalities that we're using during Possible You. And which is one of the reasons of the success, because we're hitting you on so many different levels. We're basically like bead blasting. You probably don't know what bead blasting is, but it's a way of machining metal where you shoot millions of BBs at the metal It blasts the metal, hardens it. I tell you the truth, I don't know what bead blasting does, but as a mountain biker, I know that there was bead blasting involved in some of the frames on my bikes over the years. But that's what we're doing, bead blasting. And Pesach is the time where we come out, where we actually actualize ourselves. 6 months ago, Sukkot was when we plant the seeds. What do we want? We daven. What do we want? Hashem, please give us such a great year. But all those was like planting of seeds. And then the next 3 months, that was the first 3 months from Elul. And then sorry, not Elul, from Tishrei. And then the next 3 months, which were just finished coming into Nisan, is 3 more months, which is called potential. So we had the protection, and then we have the guiding of our potential and throughout the next 3 months. And now we get to actualization. We're springing forth. And that's why the earth is so green now, and the flowers are coming out, and the fruits are being born out of those flowers, and we're in the actualization mode. So this is the time for us. This is the time where we are meant to come forth, to spread out and to get conscious. And then finally that's 3 months into summer. And then the last 3 months of summer are where we do the cheshbon nefesh, which is the what's the word I use for it usually? This is the actualization, and then there's a reflection, which is first reflection as a klal. That's Tammuz, where we go into Shvasar B'Tammuz and we start reflecting for 3 weeks as an Am, and then we go into personal reflection in Elul, which it culminates in personal reflection right back into planting our seeds again. So it's 3 sets of 4. 3 sets of 4 of protection to potential to meaning plant the seeds into protection, then potential 3 months, and then actual 3 months, and then the reflection for 3 months, which culminates in the whole cheshbon nefesh of Elul. I want to mention that there are this is very important for people. You know that in Judaism, you're not supposed to do a lot of work on yourself most of the time. You're not supposed to actually work on yourself most of the time. And Jews are terrible at working on themselves compared to most people. The reason is because we're highly analytical people. And it's not always great timing for analysis. So if you're doing full-time analysis, you're gonna make your life miserable. You can't always be trying to figure yourself out. Heard that, Yirmi? Can't be full-time trying to figure yourself out. Okay? There are times, and my Morader told me those times. He taught us those times, and I'll share them with you right now. The times you're allowed to go deep into yourself are as follows. If you're taking notes, you might want to write them down, but everyone else, you just remember them, okay? Erev Shabbos. But when you toivel Erev Shabbos, you have to see the water as like acid that just burns off all the cheshbon you did, and then you come out into freedom, okay, into Shabbos. Okay, so Erev Shabbos, and then Erev Rosh Chodesh. Okay, Erev Shabbos, Erev Rosh Chodesh. So that gives you 4 days of the month. It gives you plus the Erev Rosh Chodesh days. So now you got 5 days. The next is the entire Chodesh of Elul. I'm sorry, the entire 40 days till Yom Kippur, minus every Shabbos, because Shabbos is not a time for cheshbon. If you're making cheshbon nefesh on Shabbos, you will not have siyata d'shmaya. It's not about that. Shabbos is expansion. Looking into yourself to grow is contraction, and Shabbos is expansion. Everything's contraction, expansion, right? Everything's plus and minus. Everything is chaos and order. Okay, so this is how the world works. And Ratzo v'shov. So the expansion is Shabbos, but you can contract and work on yourself. Erev Shabbos, Erev Rosh Chodesh, all of Elul till Yom Kippur, minus the 4 Shabbos, minus the 6 Shabboses, if there's 6, I think, and minus Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is not a day for that. Rosh Hashanah is being Mamlich Hashem. So if you ever notice you don't enjoy Rosh Hashanah very much, you're probably thinking about yourself. Not a yourself day. The whole beauty of Rosh Hashanah is total expansion into the Melech. Hashem, you're Melech. You're the Melech. That's it. 2 full days of it, making Hashem Melech. It's a joy. It's so cool. And we know that he's just doing the Ba'asher Sham anyway. And where do you want to be actually if God's going to give you your year based on the snapshot that he takes, in your big moment of Rosh Hashanah, wouldn't you want him to take that snapshot while you're making him Melech? So, okay. So, and then once you finish Rosh Hashanah, 2 days Rosh Hashanah, where you made him Melech, now you can go back into Cheshvan and Nefesh for 7 more days, and those 7 days, now you can be Mamlich Hashem Mamish, because you just had 2 days of clarity. So you're like, wow, I've been Mamlichim in what I look at. Am I Mamlich in what I eat? Am I Mamlich in what I hear? You can be Mamlich Hashem on all your Ivarim, on your whole being, and do the inner work of seeing where you're at. Coming out Yom Kippur. Now Yom Kippur, you're allowed to do Cheshvan and Nefesh. That's fine, Cheshvan and Nefesh on Yom Kippur, although I've watched the tzaddikim, they don't seem to be doing Cheshvan and Nefesh on Yom Kippur. But certainly if you follow the Machzor, it's Chazal are perfectly happy with us doing Cheshvan and Nefesh. And plenty of tzaddikim are doing Cheshvan and Nefesh on Yom Kippur. The next is the looking for chametz during this whole period. As soon as you start doing Pesach, looking for chametz, looking for the ego. So it's very interesting that we're searching for chametz, but shechting a sheep. Because the sheep really, the real body of the sheep is that inner room, that inner place, the inner negative beliefs, the stuff we're willing to say about ourselves. That's what we're checking for. But the actual mitzvah of B'dikas Chametz is we're looking for the puffed out ego, the part of us that there's no room for Hashem. The cup is full, and it's full of us. And that's the place where we're looking. We're looking for that chametz. We're looking for that semer. And it culminates during these 4 days where the Yud Nisan, my birthday again, is the kachse, take the sheep, inspect it. And so we inspect it, but on that 4th day, which will be Wednesday, you check that thing. You checked it. The cheshbon nefesh is over. Do not go into Pesach making cheshbon on yourself. That's a mistake. Pesach's expansion time, man. Pesach's the 50th gate that you're going to spend the next 7 weeks working back to. So this is certainly not a personal contraction. It's a klali Hashem expansion, Rosh Hashanah night. And so we check that sheep in the afternoon on Wednesday. And this is the year where we're actually lined up, because the actual Yetzias Mitzrayim was on Chatzos of Wednesday night of Yom Hamishi, or you know what I mean. It was the Wednesday night, basically. We're right now aligned with the original one, which is cool for me, because it's a kind of a bummer to have your birthday on Yud Nisan, because you're like, your wife's like, okay, do the dining room table. And you're like, it's my birthday. And she's like, yeah, just do the dining room table. Okay. So but Baruch Hashem, when it lands on Shabbos, which is the way it was in the original leaving of Egypt, which is also kind of interesting, because the commandment to take a sheep and tie it up in your bedroom is an av malacha. You're like, you're doing all kinds of things you're not supposed to be doing, but one of them is sad. You're not supposed to trap an animal, and now you're tying a permanent knot, basically. You ever think of the women on that day? Imagine your wife. Imagine you and your wife were living in those days, and your wife's busy, getting ready for the Yetzias Mitzrayim, taking care of whatever, make sure the kids have what to wear going into the desert. and you're like coming in the front door, and you're like, honey, and she's like, get that sheep out of here, and you're like, you're like, well, it's kind of an interesting commandment we got here, but according to this Moshe character, we're gonna have this in our bedroom for the next 4 days. He's like, are you kidding me? First of all, take that thing out of here and wash it. You know, I mean, I smelled it a mile away. You know, you imagine having a sheep in your bedroom for 4 days. You know, that's just not very romantic. And just sheep in your bedroom. And it's not like people had big houses back then. It's not like, okay, we'll put them in our bedroom, but we're sleeping on the couch. You know, no, you were going to be sleeping in your bed with a sheep tied to it. You know, you hope it doesn't get spooked in the middle of the night and drag your bed all the way across town. So I want to go. I realized that I forgot something I was in the middle of. Hashem libo zarai. Hashem's with me. Hashem's mine. And when he's mine, I realize that everyone's here not to get me. Not everyone's out to get me. Everyone's out to help me. Everyone's out to help me. And it's just so true. You know, like just random people, like all of us have been helping random people lately. And I don't know how close you get to live when you drive your car to and fro in over there in wherever you live, but here in Yerushalayim, where you're really on foot the whole time. So like you can pay for the wine of the old lady. Like there was this old Persian lady buying her bottle of wine, and she had no money. I mean, this lady was like, this was her Pesach bottle, you know, and it's like, and she keeps she's giving me advice that my kids need to wear, not that my kids were there, but she's saying my kids need to wear sunscreen to protect them from the sun. I'm like, thank you so much, lady. But anyway, when I paid my bill for however many people will be coming over or throughout Pesach, I put the lady's bottle of wine tab, you know, because I want to do for people. And we all want to do for people. That's who we are. Because Hashem libo is right, because everyone's our helpers and we're everyone's helpers. But the next words are, Va'ani ereh b'sonai, and I will see bisonai, into my enemies. Now I know Art Scroll and probably most Mefarshim explain that means that when Hashem's with you, you'll see the downfall of your enemies, but it's not what it says. It says, Va'ani ereh b'sonai, I will see into them. I can see also into them, because when I see into me, I see into them. All of you guys who worked with me, all of you guys who did the possible, you know you saw into people like nobody's business. You probably still do. You might even see into people better than you see into yourself. But all of a sudden you see into them, and you see into the people you don't like. Who are the Sinai? Who are my enemies? People I don't like. And suddenly I see into them. And I see them, like I can actually see them. I wasn't seeing them before. I didn't want to see them. And for some of us, that's a father, and some of us, it's a mother, and some of us, it's a sibling, or some of us, it's a, hey, Troy, Mazel Tov. I didn't get to read the rest of your messages, by the way. But I will. And always put your messages on top if I miss them. See into... I can see, because I've got perspective now. And when did you say that? Right after you said, Min ha-meitzar korasiko. From the Meitzar, I called out to Hashem. I screamed out from that place of constriction. I call out from that place of constriction. Anani b'merchavko. And Hashem answers me with expansion. Which is telling us that there's a screaming modality that I call out. We know there's a modality like that, because anytime Torah tells us multiple words for one thing, we know it's a big thing. Like, for example, there's over 20 words in Hebrew for desire. I know you guys from Williamsburg know your favorite one, I'm sure, is Yael. Yael Moshe. And Moshe wanted to stay when he was in Midian. And the Oh, that's so funny. I just had an amazing chap that they use the Hasidim in America that use the words of the Satmar Rebbe about the state of Israel. That his famous book was called V'yoel Moshe, and Moshe wanted to stay in Midian. But you see how badly he wanted to stay in Midian, because when Hashem finally comes to him at the burning bush and says, like, get out, he's like, nah, take my brother. He's already leading them. Let him lead them. I'm good here. I'm staying. I'm not going to the land of Israel. So like it really full circle. But what's the crazy thing? The crazy thing is that the Jews get a plague from the Midianites. Why? Because the Midianites hit the Jews below the belt, meaning there was the sexual promiscuity of the Midianite women that's where we draw the line. That's where we're like, that's where you get your Pinchas. That's where you get your Pinchas, and that's where you get a plague. God forbid, plague comes from that. And that's where you got your Keteris, and that's when you get yourself the hell out of there and go to Eretz Yisrael. So you guys are all at the tail end of the 1960s sexual revolution. And what's so interesting about that is that you probably don't know anything about this, but the birth control pill was when it started. The birth control pill was just like a little way to like plan your family a little better, Except what? For the last 5,000 years, every single female said no because of the risk that sexuality on her. So the answer was no. It was just no for thousands of years. The answer is no, I'm not going to ruin my life. And so men had to get used to the fact that they would have to be a mensch to become the kind of character that a woman would say yes. And when would she say yes? When you put the insurance policy on her finger. And then she said yes. Otherwise, it was no. And even if she was an atheist, and even if she was a Greek or whatever, the most Western maskila, the answer was no. Put a ring on their finger, the answer is yes. They come up with a pill that takes away the risk of pregnancy. And the women are like, yes. Suddenly they turned it into a yes. And then, you know what happened? The moment they did that? Like the reg of the birth control came out and the women said yes. You know what happened in that moment? Every man in the world, I'm not talking about Jewish men, frum men, every man in the world said the following words: why buy when you can rent? Meaning, if what was holding us back was that, and that we had to basically buy, meaning get married, which is a gigantic liability. The second they said yes, the men said, fine. And you want to know what happened? You can check this out yourselves. When the day the birth control came out, the marriage age just like bumped up like almost 10 years. In every society that they discover the technology of that pill, the marriage age jumps up like 10 years because the men aren't interested. And if you live anywhere metropolitan area like Manhattan or anywhere like that, the marriage age is 10 years beyond that. Meaning it's more, instead of going from the late teens to the late 20s, it went now to the late 30s. And when the men finally realize, hey, maybe I do want to get married because maybe I want to have a family because time's passing by, they turn around and you know what they got? They got a giant used car lot. And I'm not talking about Avis here. This is like Rent-A-Wreck. These people have been through hell. It's a giant, disaster. And those people who finally get married, you know what their divorce rate is? At least in metropolitan areas, 60% divorce rates. Metropolitan areas, city areas, like big city areas, 6% divorce rate. Anyway, but all of that devolved and devolved and devolved and devolved. And if you can picture a toilet now, devolved and devolved into what has now become transgender terrorism, which is exactly what's going on now. Like while the whole progressive movement makes them the most honored people, they're angry. What are you angry at? Like the whole society has honored you now. Like it's the best way to get a job, best way to get into Harvard now. It's the best way to get anything you want. Like, what are you angry about now? Like we accepted you. And they become basically a terrorist organization. Because it's over now. And I'll just finish. I can't say all that without finishing with the following. You can Google what I'm about to say as well. This is a really crazy one. The last thing is that every society that's disappeared on the planet, whatever countries disappeared or civilizations disappeared, Greeks, Romans, Native Americans, everyone that ever disappeared. We have their artifacts. I mean, we have things they made, we have art they made, we have paintings they made, we have sculptures they've made, we've had cave paintings from like really ancient times. Right at the time where the society disappeared, the gender of the artwork turns neutral. You can't tell anymore if the figure, meaning let's say it's a sculpture, you can't tell if it's a man or a woman. If it's a painting, you can't tell if it's a man or a woman. It goes gender neutral right before the end of that civilization. So that should make you nervous. But you have Rami Merrill, you have why I put that together with Yo and Moshe with Midian. But the end of that story of the, if you want to call it Masa Avasim and Labanim, is the Midianite women. And once you got the Midianite women, we're out, man. We're not hanging around the Midianites. We're done with Midian. And that was a vicious attack. Like, yeah, that's nice. You want to hang out in Midian. And by the way, Moshe Rabbeinu had no intention of hanging out in Midian. We just had to cross through these places to get to Eretz Yisrael. But at that point, you get yourselves out of there. Okay. By the way, Eretz Yisrael has plenty of problems. If you haven't watched the news lately. But we're like, I knew this was going to happen in Eretz Yisrael, but I just didn't think it was going to happen this early. But the whole craziness going on in America between the left and the right just hit us like 10 years early. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it was going to explode anyway, but it just exploded a couple years before I thought it would. Let's go back into Pesach. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pause for questions. Anyone got a question? You can shoot it or you can raise your hand. I'll call on you. Yeah, you're me.
Yeah, according to what you said, there's no place in the world that's not going to end. Because it's everywhere. There's no
revolution.
Neutral. Gender neutral.
Yeah, meaning it's going to end everywhere.
Well, and it's not anything better. It's like
right, but it's not going to end in societies that refuse all of that garbage. Any society that refuses that garbage will survive, and there's many that refuse it. Russians absolutely refuse it. China absolutely refuse it. Those are big areas. Islam, large areas of the human population absolutely refuse it. There's 1 billion Christians absolutely refuse it. So it's not that push it. But again, the way either you're vocally refuting it, or you're either against the problem or you're part of the problem. So if you don't speak up and do something, they tried to get I guess it was like, they're always trying to get everyone to recognize these things. So they were trying to get the National Hockey League to recognize this stuff. The hockey guys, they're not interested in that. So the like half the league refused to put on special jerseys in honor of those people. like half the league. So they just I think they canceled. I don't know. Right now, it's a whole controversy. Like, what are they going to do? Because they made this whole campaign that, and it's happening where people are refusing. So we do have to be vocal. If you're not vocal, you're complicit. If you're not against it, you're part of it.
That doesn't make its rule any better than America at this point.
Oh, Israel has its own issues, but the main reason why I thought it would be 10 more years is because the population that's progressive in Israel is not having children. They don't have progeny, and the birth rate of the frum people in Israel is gigantic. It's like it depends. Like in the modern Orthodox community, it's like 4 and 5 kids. In the Haredi community, it's more like 6 to 8 kids, which is massive. I mean, that's gigantic. I don't think there's many places on earth like this. The Arabs here have gone down to, I think, Shai, you know what the Arabs is? Can you look it up real quick? Just Google it real quick. Something like 3 or 4. But here's the thing, Yermi, I can't even tell you what the secular Israelis' birth rate is. You know why? They won't print it. The only thing they're willing to print is those who get married. But that's not your birth rate. Your birth rate has to be the whole population. Well, what about the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Israelis that never get married? They won't let that be part of the statistic. They're only letting the marrieds be part of the statistic. You have, so they'll say like, yeah, they have a 1.2 rate or 2.1 rate or something. They leave out the fact that there's the biggest city, second biggest population in the whole country. Hardly anyone even gets married over there. They're too busy, drinking and doing drugs and making millions in high tech. So anyway, the reason why I said in 10 years is that in 10 years, when there's only a very little amount of them, and all that older generation, the actual Maskilim, have died, meaning the people who founded the Medina, they're gone. They're mostly gone now, but in the next few years they'll be gone. And then all you have left is just a bunch of people with nose rings and tattoos, but they don't have kids. And in fact, their whole movement is impossible to have kids unless you do it in a laboratory. So it's like my calculations about 20 years ago was that in around 2030 plus a little, they were going to go bananas for their last chance to try to strangle, the country for their right to exist. But Bibi had other ideas, and the planet's all fighting now, so they just went for it, And Bibi backed down, which he's probably going to have to pay for in a big way, So that's it. But you should all of us have to be watching very open-eyed about what's happening in the world today, and make sure we're not getting ourselves into trouble, because it's pretty scary times. And we don't know where any of this is going to go. Questions? Any questions on what I covered on Pesach stuff? No one got any questions? Okay, great. I'm going to pull out my guitar a little bit and take us on a little journey. Before I'll do a little. No, you know what? I think I'll take us on a journey first, and then I'll take us on a little Pesach medley of. So let's do a little meditation on leaving our own exile, our own self-imposed exiles. And before I do that real quick, I want to mention that we have a growth rate. Oh, you sent it. Shai, you can just say it.
Yeah, the Arab population growth rate gone down to 2.2 from 3.8 as of 2013, so that's even old information That's what I found.
That's old information. I think we have more current information, but I know it's gone down and down and down. When I moved to Israel, they were having 8, like the average Haredim, and then it was 6, and then it was 5, and then hit 4, and I don't know what it got to. I haven't looked in years. So I just want to remind every Hasidic man here, when you say Ribbon Kol Ha'olamim, we say Shetirachmeni Od B'Gelusi Legaleni. We ask Hashem, Shetirachmeni Od B'Gelusi Legaleni, that have compassion on me, have mercy on me, while I am still in my own exile, my own Mitzrayim, my own Meitzar. Legaleni, to redeem me. Take me out into Geula. Lucy, Legaleni, Shetirachmeni, oh, Lucy, Legaleni, Shetirachmeni, Lucy, Legaleni. I sing that 3 times every Shabbos, and then I sing 3 times the next words. Because if Hashem takes you out of your golus and redeems you, then automatically my heart will be awakened to your love. My heart's awakened to your love. When I leave my personal exile, my heart awakens to your love. And what are the next words? Ve'az, and then, only if I leave my personal exile and my heart is awakened to your love, then I will keep your laws and your statutes without depression, without sadness. Isn't that interesting? You know what that means? That means that so many people who are in personal exiles are doing halacha, like they're keeping, halacha of Klal Yisrael, the halachas of the Torah, they're keeping it be'etzav. That's the diuk. You're not doing it b'simcha. Because if you're in exile, your heart's not in love with Hashem and feeling Hashem's love for you, avasecha, and therefore, and then it goes on, vespalel kedas ucharui uchanoch, it means you're not davening right. Meaning, if you're in a self-imposed exile, and we all know this, when you're in a self-imposed exile, your davening stinks. I mean, you can be yotzi sign, you can pray for things, you can daven for somebody, but for you as a personal experience, it's no good. It stinks. And then I can daven kedas. What's kedas? Meaning the way it was set up to be done by Chazal. Ucharui, in a way that's fitting. Uchanachon, and just daven right. So I can't even daven right if I'm not alive. One of the modalities that I taught many of you is the breath work. But let me teach you all a new breath. That's important. There's a breath work for anxiety. Any of you want to hear a breath work for anxiety? It's a very simple thing. For anxiety, if you're ever feeling that tightness in your chest, shortness of breath, and you're suddenly like lost in anxiety, getting anxious over things. So the breath is like this. It's, you fill your belly quick, like a balloon shooting in, like at a gift shop, like fill your belly quick, and then a little breath to fill the chest like this. Watch. You can do it through the nose. And then you blow out slowly through the mouth, as long as you can. Try again. Try it together, belly quick. And nose. You'll start to already feel different in your head. Notice your head now. Keep going. Nose. Try mouth. You can get in more air. And try first nose and then mouth. So what I did in Shmoneh Esrei, you can relax now. What I did in Shmoneh Esrei today was something very interesting. I did the Shachris and Mincha. Is before the beginning of each bracha of Shmoneh Esrei, I went like this. I went. And then the big one, meaning in the chest. And then my whole exhale, very slowly, I let out very little air. I more moved my lips than I let out air. I moved my lips through the whole bracha. When I got to the bracha Hashem, then I held with no air in my body, absolutely no air. Held for a moment, and then and I can tell you that by the time I got to about midway through Shmoneh Esrei, it was a different experience. Like I was really focusing in on the words. My heart was open. My brain was not on anything else than the experience of the tefillah. Okay, everyone close your eyes a moment. Just closing your eyes and breathing normally after that breath work. That should do the trick. Rest your hands on your legs, palms up. Just breathing and being present. That's so funny. I thought I was on there the whole time. I was just saying that everyone take time during Leila Seder to make it yours, you know. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people. There's a balagan. There's little kids everywhere. People are screaming and people are getting frustrated. Just stay in your space. Stay in your space. You be the one who's the chayrus guy. You be in that state. And just stay contained within yourself. Contained. You know, you're not moved by what's going on. Someone spills a little wine, no big deal. Someone breaks your matzah before you even start the Seder, get another one. Yeah, it's your Zman Chayrusena. Yeah. And so stay in your space throughout it. And make sure you wash twice a day, and make sure you have at least a glass of wine per meal. Okay, you want to. There's an inyan to wash twice a day and to have wine each time. And if you have digestive issues with all the matzah, so you can take psyllium seed, which is kosher Pesach, also for Ashkenazim. It's called psyllium seed, and with a P, psyllium. P-S-Y-L-I-U-M seed. Solgar makes it. I've never seen it not kosher for Pesach. And there's a much fancier version by Tahua, which I don't know yet if it's kosher for Pesach, but I sent a message to I sent a message to the person who sets me up with my stuff from them. One sec. And I'll just let you know a few more things. Ta'wa. Pinchas. Let's see what he said. He might not have answered me yet. Let's see. No answer. I'll just send him a question mark.
It is. I checked it, Rabbi Glazer.
Oh, you checked that motion is kosher
Yeah,
Pesach?
all the whole package.
Oh, all of their seafood, their zyme.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, motion.
Remy.
Action also?
Action, the whole thing.
Oh, you guys get motion and action, you're going to have no problems this Pesach. You'll have so much more fun on Pesach. Just don't overdo the action because you may get a little too much action. But the motion is a lifesaver. While I watch everyone suffer on Pesach, I'm all good. So the what else I want to? Oh yeah, just a couple of things to tell you guys. And if you have any questions, you can ask. A couple of things to know. One thing is that the Possible You is going up to $1,500. As we're expanding, the price is expanding. Not to mention the cost of everything's expanding, but that was our original expansion was all the inflation to 1,200. But now, like, we've got a lot more overhead that's going on with us. So we're going to 1,500, but we are making anyone who signs up for the seminar before Pesach ends is they have all Chol Hamoed. So that way, when you're schmoozing with all your friends on Pesach, they can get a $300 off. Second Shvishal Pesach hits. Yontav hits, bam, it goes to 1,500 right there. So, and you should know that people who like serious, I mean, an avrech koilel who comes to me and says like, I'm an avrech, no one's helping me. You know, you think I tell him sorry. I don't tell him sorry. I find people to sponsor him. And also the guy who told him to come to the seminar, I call that guy and I say to the guy, like, help sponsor him. Like, let's get this guy there. So, but there's never no, you know, and I've met people who've gotten in so much trouble in their lives over the years, you know, back when it was like, the seminar was like $300. I speak to this guy like 10 years later and I never met him before. He's in a lot of trouble. And I say to the guy, you know, he comes up to me after the seminar. He says, you know, after this, I realized how much trouble I could have saved myself if I came to your seminar 10 years ago. I said, why didn't you come? He says, I didn't have money. And I'm like, dude, you know, how many people were probably in my seminar that month in Yerushalayim that didn't have money to do the seminar? And not to mention, by the way, they get the money because when they have to go get their nose, by the time they come back on the fourth day, they got all the money because people were like, yeah, of course. Sure, I can give you a couple $100, you know, and they get the money by the end anyway. But Shai, I don't know if you have announcements about people who really are stuck, but I get people sponsoring people all the time for it, and I've also helped people. Announcing pre-Pesach sale. I said that, okay, and for people who can't afford it all at once, they can have up to 3 payments. Spring schedule. I'm coming to Brooklyn right after Yom Tov. So that's coming up real soon. When's April 23rd, everybody? Are we in April yet? Is it April? Can someone put up a number of fingers how many days into April we are? April 2nd?
April 2nd.
So April 2nd. So yeah, we're gonna have a week of Pesach, and then I'll have a week off, and then I'm coming to. So I'm gonna be in Brooklyn on the 23rd. There's also going to be one that week in Muncie with Freeman Goldstein. So that's going to be Mashahu in Muncie. And that's the same week. And then I will be in Muncie a couple weeks later, May, and London in May as well. Shimshi, coming your way. Hi, Shimshi. Shimshi Wave, that's one of the 2 partners that run London over there. Amongst many people helping out. Then we got another Possible Shabbaton. Possible Shabbaton is coming up. This Shabbaton is going to be a little more expensive this time because I'm not paying for Shabbaton. People pay me a lot of money to lead Shabbatons, but that last Shabbaton I paid $10,000 for and led the entire Shabbaton. So this Shabbaton is going to have to be a little more expensive because, no offense, but I'm not paying for the Shabbaton this time. You know, like it's got to. I don't mind if I make nothing, but I'm not paying $10,000 to lead a Shabbaton for the graduates. So please, everyone, if you want to be part of it, I can tell you that. I mean, any of you want to mention having been there? What it was like? It was just like nothing I've ever experienced. I think it was my favorite Shabbaton after 32 years of leading Shabbatons, including like all the Eshet Torah Shabbatons, every other Shabbaton I was hired for. Never did we go that deep. And this time, Motzi Shabbos, I've got more tricks up my sleeve. So we did intense breath work, Motzi Shabbos. I think we'll do it again, but I'd like to throw something else out there, which I haven't even mentioned to Shai, but I want to keep it a surprise for now. I'm not going to tell you guys.
Rabbi Glazer, isn't it like the seminar? Like you got to really experience it to know what they're talking about.
About the Shabbaton?
There's so much you can say, and then the rest.
I don't know.
I go explain somebody the third day before.
Right, it was crazy. It was crazy what we had happen on that Shabbaton. Beyond, and I can't believe we did it all on Shabbos. Meaning in 2 days, basically. That's the Shabbos. Women have Brooklyn, April 30th. So I'm doing Brooklyn in 2 weeks after Pesach, 3 weeks from now. And the very week I finish, it's going to be possibly you in our center in Brooklyn. And then Lakewood, April 30th. And April, that'll be in our new center. That'll be Bruchi Fisher leading. And then London, we have our, maybe we should fly everyone into London, meaning of all the women. Shai, maybe we should think about that. But the women could have a lot of fun in London together. But we have a Gitti Brief, who led the last Lakewood seminar. She's going to be leading London. She's flying into London to lead it. Is that the same week I'm leading it, Shai? No way.
No, you're in London, May 28th.
Okay. Cool. What else can I say? When you guys come to Eretz Yisrael, to Yerushalayim, make sure you look me up so we can hang out and have a l'chaim. And then the last thing to know is that right after Tisha B'Av, we're going to Switzerland for major seminar work. We haven't decided which seminar I'm running, but it's going to be a major seminar work in what's called God's Playground, which will include river rafting, rock climbing, zip lining, like every kind of thing in the most beautiful place in the world. And it's going to we'll go very deep there as well, including yoga classes and all kinds of davenings. We're going to eat like kings. And it's going to be very special. I'm expecting that that the men that join that are going to be taking their wives and kids away for whatever time they're taking them away, but not that week. That Sunday to Thursday is for your growth. And you'll have given plenty to your family by that point of the summer that it's time to go away. I see a hand up. Yirmi, you have a question?
Regarding the presence process, you want to see if you have enough people for...
Oh, the presence process. Yeah. So the other thing is that I'm planning a 10-week seminar that I'm doing. I've never done it before. It's called the presence process. You do it at home. And I'm considering making a chabura for men who would like to join me in the presence process. You can look it up online. Is
this based on the book, the presence process?
Oh, thank you. Yirmi's holding up the book.
Wow.
Yirmi, can I unspotlight myself for a sec? Keep holding the book. How do I do that? Remove spotlight. So I'm going to spotlight Yirmi for a sec. People entered the waiting room, Shai. Spotlight for everyone. So hold up that book. Yeah. So that is the presence process written by Michael Brown. Michael Brown's like a Yom Tov Glazer in the Goyish world. It's from London. And what he did after all his work in his life, what he did was he created, I removed the spotlight. You're good now, Yirmi. What he did was he created a very deep tissue seminar to get you into full-time presence, like now. Now, I've done a lot of work in my life to get to where I'm at. And I know the possibility. People always ask me, like, how can I live in the now all the time? Like, I want to live in that now. I want to live in the shut up neurons. So he created a 10-week process that gets you there. And now here's the catch. If you want to join it, I'm planning on leading it. It's going to be 10 weeks. I don't know how often we're going to meet. I haven't set it up yet. I don't know how much I'm going to charge to be the Rosh Chabura for this. I don't think I'm going to charge very much because I myself am going through it. So I can't, like, I'm just the one keeping us all together and keeping us motivated to do it. We're all going to share our growth through it. I suggest everyone research it a bit first. Also, it's 150 pages to get to it. You can't do it until you read the 150 pages. I listened to them. I got to it. By the way, Yermi, I finished. I got to the 150 page. Did you finish?
I'm almost there. I'm working fast. Should do it before
Okay.
Pesach.
So I'm there. I would think that we should do it connected to Sphere Omer, right? So, Yermi, can you do me a favor and just light a fire underneath Shai a little bit to have this start as soon as Sphere Omer starts as possible? Obviously, people have to catch up if you'd like to be part of it. And Shai, I think we need to send out some kind of message. Maybe I'll send it out in the communities.
You could stand by the book for the read, even if you're not going to join.
It's an amazing read. It's an amazing read. It's really like as if I wrote the book. But again, it looks like it's going to be a special process. I'm excited to do it. And also you get to see that Yom Tov grows too. You know, I'm not just out there in front of everybody trying to, get you all to break through. I'm having my own breakthroughs, and I found a new option, and I'm jumping in. Okay. Shalom, everyone. A Freilich and Yom Tov. If I had $1 million, I'd fly all of you in to join my Seder. I'd have all of you with me and with your families. And please God, we're all going to be together eating Korban Pesach with Mashiach Tzidkenu b'meira v'yameinu, with the Binyan Beis HaMikdash b'karov. Amen.